What's going on, guys? One Chance Gaming back here with another video. So this is going to be our second week going over 2K23 My Team content, and we'll just kind of cover as far as where we left off, what's next, kind of exactly how we're feeling about the game now that we've had a little more time to play it. Because when I did the last podcast, obviously we were only about 2 to 3 days in. So I didn't get to have much feedback on it, but I get to have a little more feedback now that I've played a little bit more of it. But last we had talked about Shades of packs being announced. And we were talking about the AK, the Blake Griffin, all those. So those came out last Tuesday. And we also got a new takeover player added. So it looks like we're actually technically getting 2 takeover players a week. We're getting one on Tuesdays and one on Fridays. We'll talk about the one that we got this past Friday, but I want to talk about the one we got on Tuesday first. So we ended up getting a Donovan Mitchell. He's one of the better guards in the game, I would say. I think that's a fairly safe assumption to say. He is only 6'1", but the 6'10" wingspan at least makes it look like he's a little bit more worth it, at least on the defensive end, because he can play lanes and stuff like that. And then he also got a set of agendas. So for his agendas, it was not games 1 based. It was stats based. So you had 300-something points with Jazz players, 133s with Cavs players, and then you had 134 steals as a team, and you had to use his Series 1 card for double-doubles. The one thing I will say about this that I do enjoy is it's not wins based, so for casual people that aren't good at the game, you can still obtain this card. It does not require you to be online or offline, so if you hate one of those 2 versions of playing the game, you don't have to do it. In theory, you could go without spending any MT to get this done. So for like the Jazz players, you could use Jazz players out of the Series 1 packs and use your tokens. That's how I did it. I went into Clutch Time Offline, had a good point guard, and just ran 4 Jazz players and just did pick and roll and threw them the ball. That's how I got that done. And then you had the Cavs 3s. Again, you could go into the Series 1 packs. You could get Darius Garland, which is what I did, and just step back 3s and chuck 3s. And then the Series 1 Donovan Mitchell, obviously you just need Donovan Mitchell for it. So I do like that aspect of it. I do feel like the steals and stuff, I feel like the number was a little bit extreme, right? Especially for second week of the game, right? I feel like that number is just a little high. They expect the casual players to get that done in 1 week. And then the time frame, again, of it being 1 week. You're adding all of these grinds in that aren't short grinds, that are all, you're given essentially every takeover player has 1 week. But you keep repeating what you had the last one do, but you need the same amount of time to get it done, right? Last year we had the lifetime agendas. I wish it would have been maybe like a season agenda or I guess a lifetime agenda where you had them for maybe until the end of the season or the end of the month or just something like that to give players that aren't no-lifing this game or playing 3-4 hours when they get home from work like I am. Like just you give other people that maybe play like 2 hours a day, then maybe play like 4 hours on the weekend, something like that, right? You're giving those type of people a chance to actually obtain this card. Because honestly, through Twitter, through everything I've seen, I don't know if I've seen a player obtained through Clutch Time online or offline, or Triple Threat online or offline. I don't think I've seen one of those screenshots this year. And normally that's the way a lot of people get them. That's how gameplays get out so early. I was really shocked, especially for the Iggy gameplay. I'll give it away for who the Friday guy was. The gameplay wasn't out within the first 45 minutes, which is normally how in past years has been the case with those kind of players, right? It's normally somebody will grind up until that last set of triple threat games. You do one quick board, boom, you got them, gameplay's out, right? That didn't happen this year. Donovan Mitchell took till mid-afternoon. Iggy, same thing. Like, it's just, it seems like they took the RNG part out now, and it's just the grind. It seems like the Friday players are in draft mode, but you only get one of those tickets a season right now. There's no agendas for extra ones, so you're kind of just stuck with what you get. And I think that's a really big problem for no money spent guys that are trying to get these cards, but also at the same time don't have 30 hours a week to put into the game, right? 2K is kind of asking you to go one way or the other right now, or both. But it's just for those guys that want it. And then if you can't get, let's say you can't get Mitchell and you can't get Iggy, because you can't get Mitchell's stats done and you can't get Iggy's wins done, right, within that week time frame. Even if you do all 6 weeks of limited, you only get one of them. You only get to pick one. You don't get to pick like 2 or 3 or something like that. So the guys don't have to grind to no life every single week of the season to get all the cards, right? I think that's just a little overkill. But as far as the Tuesday drop goes, we got Blake Griffin, decent center, not my playstyle, so I won't say he's bad. But he's just a non-defensive center. He's a good popper, but just defensively. We got AK. From everything I've seen, AK still has his godly stance. AK still has his good animations. Jump shot's still a little slow, which is kind of how it goes with early AKs. The defense is always amazing, but the jumper's slow. He can't really dunk. It's like a 60-something. And he's not going to be a playmaker. He's literally going to be a 3-and-D cone. If you guys want, play him at your 4. I personally will probably play him at the 3. I'm going to wait to buy cards just because I feel like each set is going to outdo itself. So I don't think there's necessarily a rush to buy cards right now. We got Andre Drummond, who was an Amethyst. It seems like he's a pretty good budget option. Not outrageously good defensively. Good rebounder, though. That's kind of just what he's there for. Decent rim runner. And then as far as the Evos go, because we talked about Evos coming that Tuesday in the Shades of packs, we got Paolo, who is probably the best popper in the game. If you guys are running a rim running center, so a Westbrook, a Rose, any kind of card like that out of the trophy case, I recommend Paolo and run him at center. Great popper, great jump shot, and good rebounder because his Evo was rebound, so they prioritized his rebounding, which was really good. He's easily the best Evo we got out of this past week. Next one, we got Jeremy Sochan. Good, but the steals is really hit or miss. I mean, there's games you can put him on ball and he gets 3. You could go, I think I was talking to somebody in a group chat and it was like, it's been 7 games and he hasn't even gotten a strip. Like, it's just, steals are kind of RNG right now. Unless you're playing the bot, you can get that like consistent animation to pluck them. But he was probably the longest Evo. I think I bought all 3. He only ended up at a Ruby. Paolo I fully Evo'd and kept, and then the last guy I ended up getting in an Amethyst. The last guy was Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren, really, really athletic. He gets good athletic animations. As far as lobs go, he really goes up for him. He'll get really good chase down animations, stuff like that. His player build, he's got the scrawnier player build, so he gets bullied a little bit. But as far as athleticism, he was really up there. I really enjoyed the card. It's just I chose to sell high because I wasn't going to keep him. But yeah, that's the cards we got Tuesday. And then we'll go ahead and go, because Tuesday and Fridays are the only days of content we're getting right now. But we got intensity packs on Friday. So for these, just like the Steph ones, we got 3 at the top tier card, which was Zion. So we got a pink diamond, a diamond, and an amethyst. I believe it was the amethyst in draft. Jump shot isn't fast by any means, but it's a good set shot. You can, especially if he's in the corner, you can really tell where the green window is on it. Really good rim runner, just kind of and defensively and everything else. We also got a Amethyst Marcus Smart and Amethyst Tyson Chandler. Marcus Smart was a pinch disappointing. Wasn't as good as Ruby from last year, if you guys know. If you saw the video where we had gotten the leaks, I was really excited for that card. Kind of disappointing. Used him in draft a little. And then Tyson Chandler, who's probably the best budget big in the game right now. Tall, good player model, good rebounder, good screen setter. Like, just that, he's just not fast by any means. He's faster than Rudy Gobert, but he's just not fast as far as how I would like an inside center to be, right? My ideal inside center is like a Dwight Howard type or a Josh Smith type. Those kind of guys typically run inside center for me early in the year unless it's Draymond. But yeah, I think he's really good for his budget. The takeover card we got announced was Iggy. Iggy, like Lamar Odom, if you go to your agendas, he is wins-based. I think I'm about a third of the way through it right now. I have to get it done by Friday, so we'll see how that goes. But he's probably one of the better on-ball defenders in the game. And unlike what happens typically with early year Iggy cards, he can play the 2. Normally the first Iggy card we get is small forward, power forward, but they gave him shooting. He's primary shooting guard on this card. So I do think that's where he comes really into benefit because the shooting guard position I think is just really kind of a low point. I mean, granted, we're 2 weeks in, right? We can't necessarily say we expect every position perfectly filled. But I think the shooting guard position is kind of the weakest of the bunch right now, and he definitely helps with that. We also got Diamond Victor Oladipo, who's a shooting guard. Not point guard eligible, which kind of hurts the card a little because he's shooting guard small forward. But really good defensively. Jump shot's kind of slow. I used him in draft. Ball handle's okay. On-ball defense, he still kind of doesn't get the perfect animations, but he's okay. And then we also got a Diamond Ben Wallace, who is center power forward eligible. Have heard a lot of good things about this card. He kind of Not as well as Josh Smith from last year, but he does help stop the mashing animations at times. Again, he's an undersized, so he's not going to help it every time. But I've heard the speed looks good. Obviously, nobody's shooting with him. But as far as defensively, he looks like he's at least going to stand a little test of time. We'll see once we get a D-Rob and a Yao, and once we start going up in the world, right? But for right now, I think, especially him being one of the faster centers in the game, I think helps a lot. Then the two headliners, we obviously got Zion, who got Hoff Bully on the pink diamond. That is something to keep in mind, because Hoff Bully is a really good badge right now. And then we also got Vince Carter. Dribbling a little underwhelming. Shooting good, slashing good. Obviously not going to be a top tier defender, but more than passable at the defensive end. You just got to throw a couple of badges on him. Fine, still got the Vince Carter jumper, which means that is at least still intact and solid as ever. And then what happened on Friday? Because normally you guys know Mondays we get our Tuesday leaks, Thursdays we get our Friday leaks, right? So I was sitting there. If you guys saw the video on this, you already know what I'm talking about. Was sitting there, got an email from 2K, the normal one that I get mid-afternoon, just detailing the pack we got on Friday, and ooh, go buy packs, and yada, 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 right? Decided to kind of quickly scroll through it as I'm deleting it, and saw at the bottom that had Shades Of, but it wasn't the Shades Of from Tuesday, because normally they'll put like the Tuesday pack there and be like, oh yeah, we also released this week, go buy more money, right? That type of thing. But it had a different set of guys, so I was like, oh, well, let me look at it. And it had DeAndre Jordan and Mark Williams put together. DeAndre Jordan will be Andre Drummond, better defensively, worse rebounding-wise, and probably better slashing-wise. Mark Williams, he's 7 foot, not 7'2" anymore. Because I took a look at his gold card that's in there for the Series 1. Player model still looks really good. Doubt he'll have a 3-ball. Maybe he'll have a little bit of some speed or something, but we'll see. That'll be tomorrow's video. Stay tuned for that. The other card we got Pink Diamond John Morant, which you guys use the Ruby. You know, he's one of the better point guards in the game as a Ruby, so he'll be better shot, better defense, better slashing, better badges, all that stuff on tomorrow's card. And then we got a Diamond Jaden Ivey to compare to him, which is point guard eligible. I was curious to see kind of what their threshold is going to be for who they let play point guard, because it's always a really interesting thing at this point in the year. Is they'll have guys like Luka and LaMelo and Lonzo and all the taller guys conveniently get put to shooting guard, right? But Ivy, he is 6'4", so they did give him point guard eligibility. Good player model. It looks like he has Jordan dribble style in his gold, so assuming that won't change, we'll have to see his jump shot. But I think he'll be better in the budget aspect for guys that need a point guard, right? And then the last two guys we got Danny Green, who'll be an Amethyst, who Danny Green, if you guys have known, jump shot's always really good, defense is always good, and can shoot. Just dunking's probably like a 70, ball handle's probably like 80, 70, something like that, right? Then Ochai Agbaji, who was drafted by Cleveland, but then got traded to Utah in the Donovan Mitchell trade. At least as far as from what I've heard, really good two-way player, spaces the floor, plays good defense, not sure about his dunking, but he is getting a diamond through the Evo. So that'll be interesting because he'll probably have his gold card right now has like a 74 3-ball. So he'll have like, I would say 80 to 85. Defense should be good. Probably a couple of defensive badges. So that got announced. That was leaked Friday. Put that out on Twitter. Everybody figured it out. And then they just kind of, I think 2K knew that it got leaked because normally their announcement is they go one set of players at a time every like hour to half hour. And then they just threw it all in one tweet today, which normally when they do that, it means they knew the leak was out. They're aware that everybody already knows, so they just throw it out just to throw it out. And then after that, we got our TakeOver player leaked, because I guess they wanted something else to leak. And this one is going to be Diamond Elgin Baylor. He's going to take Diamond Donovan Mitchell's spot. Personally, I'd rather have Donovan Mitchell. He is point guard eligible, which is a big thing for Donovan Mitchell, because he wasn't last year at this time of the year. And the other thing with Elgin Baylor is, clicking on the card here, he's small forward, power forward. So Elgin Baylor's like, I think, 6'6", right? And he's not going to be shooting guard eligible. Jump shot's always pretty slow. Kind of think of him as like a semi-taller Bruce Brown early in the year, right? Howdy, Huber. So, that's going to be the card that's taking Donovan Mitchell's spot, so I'm assuming he'll have points and yada, yada, yada. So, if you guys are going to take a week off from doing the Diamond Takeovers, I personally think this is the week. Elgin Baylor, I just don't think plays. You got guys like Giannis, you got Paolo, you've got Kawhi, you've got Jeremy Sochan. Ochai Agbaji will be able to play that spot. I just think there's a lot of guys in those forward spots to where you don't need to prioritize Elgin Baylor. Go get your Iggy. Go get some of your Unlimited done. Go get your XP done. I just don't think that Elgin Baylor is going to be a top guy to grind. But yeah, so that is everything we have for the week. Obviously, tomorrow I will have out a video as far as animations, all that stuff for the Takeover card, as well as the Shades of cards. Hopefully by the time I do it, the Evo requirements will be out so we can get that updated. If not, it'll be in Friday's video when I talk about it. Thursday night, we'll then have the Friday leaks. And then ideally, we'll go live on Friday night, going over cards, going over Evos, going over Limited, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, that's going to be week 2 of the 2K23 podcast. Goal is to still do this on Mondays. Start between 5 and 6 Central. Hopefully we'll keep that schedule. But I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.